Let's get going. Let's get going. How are y'all doing today? Welcome back to another live stream. This is Breakfast with Dr. Kojo. It really is the late night show because it's late at night, but I wasn't able to do the breakfast show this morning. So we're just gonna keep the same breakfast show overlay theme, and the Titans are playing today in 20, 30 minutes. So, you know, the colors match up with the Titans colors. But we're going to talk about a very important topic today. We're going to talk about 3 ways to cope with sadness this winter, and sadness is an emotion that we all go through, so it can be relatable for everybody. So I didn't want to say depression. I wanted to say sadness, so that way we can make it, relate for everybody. So before we get into it, here is my name, a little bit about me if you're new to this stream. But before we start, please go ahead and use the comment section to introduce yourself. Let me know your name. And let me know where you're checking in from. And let's go ahead and get started. Leilani, what's going on? Leilani is one of the moderators. She's checking in from Tennessee. Angel, how you doing? How's everybody doing today? I'm excited, obviously, because of the game, but I'm happy to see you all. And I'm grateful that we're able to connect today. We have Kim from Canada. Okay, awesome. We have let me see. Angel, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a jersey. It's a jersey. That's why I look good. It's a jersey. Jacqueline, how are you doing? Okay, awesome. Perth, Australia, Alabama, Canada. We're going to talk about this, but ADHD and depression go hand in hand. Having ADHD makes you more likely to be depressed. Greg, I will say that. Get some of these comments. Stephanie, I appreciate you. Although ADHD is frustrating, I think it's more difficult than ADHD like as a child. But there's no evidence behind that. But ADHD is just difficult in general. So I'm happy that I'm able to educate you all about it. And Stephanie, I appreciate you being here. So we have Sarah from Jonesboro, Alaska in the house, Alabama in the house, Maldives, Angel from West Texas, England in the house, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I had a busy day in North Carolina. Oh, wow. It looks like it was a productive day, though, Kimberly. I think we can be proud of that. Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Becca in the Valley. Yeah, depression is often comorbid with ADHD. Let me see. Garbage is out. Let's go ahead and give Matt a love of the show. And today was my trash day as well. I got my trash out. And let's give Matt and Kevin a double love of the show. Let's give Kevin a triple love of the show because he's a Titans fan. Awesome. All right, so let's go and get into it because I can talk about the Titans all day. But 3 ways to cope with sadness this winter. The reason why I chose the word sadness instead of depression is because I wanted to be relatable to as many people. Because even if because depression, we throw the term depression around a lot. But as a professional, I know that if somebody isn't depressed for the better part of 2 weeks and they've lost interest and things and so many more, like all the criteria, right, for major depressive disorder, not everybody's going to meet the criteria for like a depressive episode, but we all do experience sadness. So I think it's important to figure out how we can cope with sadness, especially during the winter times when it's getting colder, it's getting darker earlier, and this is a time when we really have to lean in on each other and figure out how we can get through these difficult times. So I have my first tip right here on how to cope with sadness this winter. And number 1 is here. Write your thoughts out. Yeah, kickoff is at I got like 17 minutes, Leilani. I got 17 minutes. So until kickoff, I'm gonna be here. So write your thoughts out, right? If you're feeling sad and you don't know why, like literally write your thoughts out. And I used to think that you could take your phone and make like a note on your phone and be typing. You can do that, but between making a note on your phone and writing it out, I would recommend that you physically take the pen to the paper and you actually write your thoughts out. Because when you write it out, I think it's more cathartic, right? You're trying to figure out why you feel sad. You can say, hey, I feel sad because so and so, or I feel sad because I haven't been as productive, right? Or I feel sad because I'm beating myself up, or I'm behind on things, or I feel sad because there's an Adderall shortage in the country. Whatever is going on, write out your thoughts. I feel sad because during this time of the year, I grieved somebody that I lost a couple of years ago. Right? It's cathartic to just put your thoughts out there and to just write it out. And one good thing about writing out your thoughts is that you're staying present. You're in the moment. You're like fully in the moment because you're writing out your thoughts, right? So instead of you being, it actually helps you feel a little bit better, right? Instead of being too, sad or too depressed about what is going on, or the past, or instead of being too anxious about the future, we're fully locked into the moment and we're doing our best to stay in that moment and write out exactly how we feel. So I think that can be very helpful. We're playing. Yeah, I know, Lori. Oh, you're a Green Bay. You're a Packers fan. I like you because you're part of my community, but you're a Packers fan. Packers fan. Oh, Mickey Picky. Andre says, thank you for this topic. My 92-year-old grandmother just passed away 3 months ago. This would be our first year without her. My grandfather isn't taking this too well either. They've been together for 76 years. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I'm so sorry for your loss. The person has definitely taken over me because she was my best friend. So to Andrea and anybody else who is, grieving, a loss, I don't think there's ever a good time to grieve a loss, right? Even if it's the middle of July and it's sunny, we never want to grieve a loss. But I think it hits harder during, the last part of the year, right? When it's colder and, the holidays, we have Thanksgiving and then right after that, we have Christmas. And this is the time when people, take breaks from whatever they're doing and you spend time with family. So you really feel the loss during times like this. So, Andre, I'm very sorry to hear about the loss of your grandmother, and I'll be praying for you and praying for your grandfather. I know how difficult it can be during this time of the year. And I'm looking at your profile picture. I'm assuming that might be your grandma. But yeah, when it comes to the sadness or the depression that you feel when these things happen, we can't bring the people back, right? The best thing that, like, if I had like a magic pill, and I had a patient who was grieving and I could do anything for them, I would give them this magic pill and bring that person back. That would fix the sadness, right then and there. But we can't do that. That's just not, realistic, and it doesn't work that way. So we have to do the best that we can. So sometimes writing your thoughts out can be cathartic, but just having a community, right? Like, we're live and there's 98 people on here, and even though there's not like 300 or 400 or 500 people, like sometimes it gets, but we still have people here, and it's a small community, right? Imagine if you're in a room and there were 88 people in a room, right? You'd feel like it's a lot of people. So likewise, everybody who's here on the stream, Andrea, we definitely do support you, and I'll be praying for you. Cassandra says, it really is. I love the colder weather. I just don't like it getting dark early. I've been diagnosed with seasonal depression. Yeah, so Cassandra, I think we had a live stream about seasonal depression, or I made a video about it. But one thing that can be helpful is, with the limited amount of time that you have during the daytime hours, to just go out and take a walk, right? Like, it's 5 o'clock here in California and it's already dark. That's how it was in the East Coast. I moved to California to get the sun, right? Because I didn't like it being so dark so early, right? My day would be over by the time I finished work. I'm like, it just like shoots your mood down, right? But it's getting darker earlier everywhere, right? So if you can capitalize on the daytime hours, like just taking a walk in the daytime, right, is going to make you feel like you're taking advantage of that time. Meg says it's 4 p.m. and it's dark here. 4 p.m. Are you in Hawaii? I'm in California and it's 5. It takes 1 second. Let me see. All right. Let me answer this question. Sometimes I come with my things that I want to say, and then I see questions, and I'm like, oh, I'd rather answer these questions real quick. I'll answer this, and then I'll get back to the other 2 tips. I have a question not related to winter. However, why with taking this ADHD medication, do I feel like I need to answer all these irrelevant questions from the guy I'm dating? I'm not sure, but sometimes when you take your medications, especially if it's a stimulant, right? Sometimes as a side effect, you may become like really talkative, right? And a lot of people will take their Ritalin or Adderall or Vyvanse or Concerta or whatever, and you might get talkative, right? You have all this energy, you want to talk, and you may want to answer all these questions and things like that. So it's interesting that you saw the connection between the two of those. That's interesting, Monica. That's interesting. 7 p.m. been dark for a few hours. Yeah, I wish they could reverse the. I hope we can get rid of daylight savings. I'm not a fan of it. Caught you live at 7 p.m. here. Okay, so Maddie, you must be in like Texas or Arkansas, Tennessee Central time zone. Because yeah, 2 hours ahead of me. All right. Now the second thing that you can do to help with sadness is you could call a friend. Let me see what the line says. My son gets talkative on consider after the yeah, and that's why it's important to take like if you go up on your meds, like after your doctor goes up on the meds, it's important to like just take note of the meds are increased, so now I should be looking out for this or that. Okay, cool. It makes everything make sense. All right, so number 2, the second thing you can do to cope with Mickey Ficky. I don't like that noise. The second thing you can do to cope with sadness is when it's to call a friend, right? And I know the other live stream we were talking about, calling friends over to the house, right? Doing some type of body doubling or something to make you feel like there's people around, right? But it's going to be really difficult to be lonely and sad if you're around people, right? So I would argue that if you're on this live stream right now, right, there's 82 people on here, right? So including me, 83. So it's going to be really difficult to be lonely right now because the chat's going and people are looking at the comments in there, and people are meeting each other, and then you have the Discord. So it's really hard to be like fully sad like right now. The issue is when the live stream is over and you go back to doing what you're doing before, you're like, all right, I got to resume life and I have to like get back to doing what I was doing before, right? So sometimes if you're feeling sad, just calling a friend can help you feel good, right? Because we may need reminders that we're worthy, we're loved, and we belong here, and we need to be here. But if you're feeling sad and you're down and you're dealing with grief and loss and depression and other unspoken, mental health issues or just issues in general, it can be really difficult to understand that. Like, all right, like I know that things won't always be this bad, but it's bad right now, right? It's really difficult sometimes. So it's very important to understand that if you can call a friend or hop on a live stream, just surround yourself with people or some form of stimulation, so that way you know that you're not by yourself. Megan, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Gavin, the dark times are behind us. 8 p.m. in Georgia, and so Sarah, look, Sarah, I don't like daylight savings at all because last week Saturday it was like 7:30 p.m. here in California, and it was super dark, and people were texting me like, "Are you gonna go out? What are you gonna do?" I'm like, I went outside and I looked and it was dark, and I was like, I don't feel like doing anything. I said, I'm just gonna take a little nap. I went back to my room. I took a small little nap, and at like 7:30 p.m. I woke up at like 3-4 a.m. Like I went to sleep early. Like there's just no motivation to go out and have fun when it's so dark. I'm like, oh, the day is over. I don't want to do anything. Margaret, thank you for having me. I appreciate you all. I was supposed to go live earlier, but I had all kinds of stuff that I had to take care of, and I'm like, will I get a chance to go live today? And I got back home in time. I'm like, all right, let me go live before I go to the Titans game. Jessica, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's difficult. Like as an adult, we have to understand that things aren't the same way that it was when we were kids, right? When we were kids, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, like these are the best times of the year, right? Like you would turn on Lifetime and your Lifetime movies, and you have all the, like things felt happier when we were younger. But now that you're an adult and you have responsibilities and things to do, and yet you may have kids of your own now, it may not hit the same, and that's fine, right? But we have to figure out how to cope with things as an adult. Margaret, nothing's wrong with a nap. I'm just saying that I took a nap and it turned into like 7.5 hours of sleep, and I'm like, this is what I wish I could get every night, consistently. Kelly, I appreciate you. And speaking of the live streams, we finally got it organized. I asked my assistant to organize all the breakfast live streams, all the late night live streams. So you can click the link in my Instagram bio and you can go straight to certain live streams, right? Because you may not want to hear about a certain topic, and you may want to go to something that, like straight to something that you want to hear about in the moment. Tabitha, very sorry to hear that. Very, very, very sorry to hear that. It's. I mean, grief. Like I've said it before. Like grief. I don't have the answer to grief. I don't think anybody has the answer to grief. And I've said it on live stream before. You can get the smartest psychologist or psychiatrist in the world. Nobody really knows how grief works, right? We're just doing the best that we can, you know. And so Cassandra, yeah, this is where the Discord can be helpful, like just have the Discord, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the Discord to where we can have more interaction in there. Because sometimes Cassandra might hop in the Discord and say, "Oh, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas," and then somebody's like, "Oh, I'm in Memphis. Like I'm not too far," and maybe you can become friends that way, you know. Because growing up, we make friends out of proximity. Oh, we go to the same church, we go to the same school, we take the same bus or whatever. But as adults, right, there's so many potential friendships that we may never get because, like, I'm here, you're there, but there's so many things that connect us. There's more things that connect us than things that actually separate us, right? Um, and Leilani, can you drop the Discord link somewhere in there? We finally got a link that is not going to expire after a week, so I'm happy about that. Why do we have to be happy and active all the time? It seems like an unrealistic expectation. We don't have to be happy and active all the time. I think it's between the two of these. It's more important to be active than to be happy, if that makes sense, right? Because exercise, your body needs exercise. Like you don't have to go lift weights or do anything that's too difficult, but your body does need you to like go for a walk every now and then, get up and be active, right? And people will say that we have to be happy. No, we have to be content. We don't have to be happy all the time. In fact, if you try and force happiness and you're not feeling it, then it's not going to be authentic, right? It's like, oh, I'm just faking it because people say be happy, but we're not happy right now, so it's fine. You just don't want to stay in sadness for too long. That's why you can't be diagnosed with major depressive disorder if you have a bad 3 days. It's not major depressive disorder, right? Like that's why we say it for the better part of 2 weeks straight. So you can have bad moments and good moments, like that's life, right? But we don't have to be happy all the time. But sometimes people will feed us a lie and say, "Oh, it's important to be happy all the time." No, like I'm not happy all the time, but I'm always content. And if I'm not happy, I never, you know, lose the fact, lose sight of the fact that these things happen, right? You have good moments and bad moments, and that's life. And yeah, this is the link to the Discord here. Thank you, Kendra, and then Lilani also had it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And let me see. Because Cassandra, they dropped the link in there. They just dropped the link not too long ago. And somebody says the extrovert introvert. I have that problem all the time. I can walk into a room and be the center of every conversation, but if you try to call me or message me, you will never find me. I can't handle conversations like that anymore. I have 98 unread messages at the very moment. So Stephanie, I'm the same way. Like if I didn't have people helping me out, my emails would pile up, right? So I figured out a way to like hack the system for me. But there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because when your social battery is at 5%, 2%, 1%, like you can't do much, right? There's only so much you can do. All right, so number 3, you want to understand that the emotion is temporary, right? If you're dealing with sadness right now, like I said, it comes in waves, right? Now, it becomes an issue when you've been sad for a prolonged period of time and you're not able to do your activities of daily living and you're behind on things and you're having thoughts of maybe not wanting to be here or self-harm. That's when it's okay, like we got to find a professional ASAP. But when it comes to sadness as an emotion, it's temporary. You're going to feel sad sometimes and other times you'll feel happy. So if you can understand that, all right, there's gonna be times when I'm feeling like a rock star, and there's gonna be times when I just don't have it. That's normal. You can't be too hard on yourself, right? This whole pressure, I'm not sure where it comes from, where we feel like we have to be productive every day, we have to be happy every day, we have to be in a good mood. We don't have to do all these things, right? We just have to be. Like just be, just be, just be here, just be, right? Because if you can get from Monday to Tuesday, and from Tuesday to Wednesday, and from Wednesday to Thursday, back around to Monday again, you've made it through the week, right? We do that over and over, you made it through the month. You do it for 12 months in a row, you've made it through the year, right? It's been a long year for all of us, and it's been a difficult year as well, but we've made it to November, right? And we follow this formula, we'll make it to December, then we'll get back around to January, right? So as time elapses, right, we understand that we go through things, but we're just doing the best that we can, you know. So I think that's where a community is so helpful. Because even me, like the reason why I'm optimistic and I keep my head up and I'm content. I don't want to say happy because I am happy, but I'm happy because the Titans are about to play on national TV. So I'm super happy right now. Like I'm excited. Like I could do a million jumping jacks right now, but it's not every day that we play on primetime TV. Maybe tomorrow something will happen and I'll be a little sad, and then towards the end of the day I'll go back to being happy, right? But I'm content, right? So I'm content because I have people around me who will remind me if I have a bad day. Hey, you just had a bad day. Like don't be too hard on yourself, right? So hopefully, that's what I hope that we can do together as a community. You know, and one of the reasons why I couldn't go live early this morning is I was going back and forth. I'm not gonna go too deep in the story because the game is about to come on, but I was going back and forth with the developers, you know, for the app that we're going to be releasing. It's called Groupthink, and it's going to be an app for my ADHD community or for anybody who's looking for accountability. So I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to upload this app to the App Store, and then the developers are getting us issues, and then they're like, "Oh, you got to pay this." I'm like, "All right, I'll pay that, but we need to get the app on the App Store. It's November. I promised you all this app months ago." But then I was talking to my friend, and I have to realize that okay, I'm just doing the best that I can. I can't get too frustrated. The app will come out when it comes out, right? But I'm just doing the best that I can. I can't get too overwhelmed with it, right? So having people around you to remind you that, sadness or frustration, these are temporary emotions, right? So you can't get too hard on yourself. Oh, it's time for kickoff. Free. Yo, it's time for kickoff. All right, so let me all right, we gotta get the party started. But before kickoff, let me go get some water so we can do the water break. 1 second, because that's mandatory. Free. Oh, oh shoot. Let me do my water break. Ah, pass the ball to Chig. That's a flag. That's a flag on the play. All right, y'all. So this is the first ever time that I'm using Gatorade for the water break because I'm actually out of water. Like I gotta order some water on Instacart. Right, I gotta go do some grocery shopping because I'm behind on stuff. But cheers, y'all. Cheers. Water break time. Yeah, it's lemon lime Gatorade, Matthew. Cheers, big cheers. All right, y'all. So I gotta go because the game is on. So my anxiety levels are already through the roof. But I love all of y'all, and I hope to see you all on the Discord so we can chat further and we can keep growing this community. So until next time, take care. I love y'all.